Now you're mute.
Can it only take 2 audio channels? Is that what's going on?
This is ridiculous.
As you heard, that late change for victory, Rhys Williams pulling out after sustaining an injury during the warm-up. So Stefan Nigro steps up off the bench. Either Thomas Dangle, Lee Broxton or partner Jimmy Donachie.
Is that any better, guys? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
You've only just come back in.
Yeah, I think I've cracked the code on this one.
Crack the code. Fucking get in there,
Yeah.
Da Vinci. Fucking. Yeah.
All right, we are fucking live now.
All right.
Unless the stream cuts out again, which it has been doing. So that's been the other issue, sound issues, and then the stream has been cutting out. So, yeah.
You know what it is, Jace? It's because the millions of people that are tuning in to watch this. That's why.
That could be the case. All right, I'm just going to get everything hopefully set up again. I was frantic. That was a frantic 22 minutes.
Good on you, mate.
I tell you
well.
what. I need a producer. If anyone wants to produce these FVS fucking live broadcasts, let me know ASAP because we need it. I can't do everything at once. That's the issue. All right.
All right.
So let's hope this is working.
One of you guys on the actual feed and confirm that we're up and running, and I'll get us underway.
Yeah, I think we are up and running finally. All right, welcome to FVS Live. We are back 2 weeks in a row, a little bit later than originally scheduled, but better late than never. Thank you for your patience and thank you for just waiting it out while we figure out the technical issues. This is a brand new system software for us, so it's a little bit full on, but thanks very much for your time and patience. So we're doing another Rewatchable. This is the main event, really. People have been looking and waiting for this one all week. It is, of course, the 2018 A-League semi-final, Melbourne Victory versus Sydney FC, one of the most memorable Melbourne Victory games of all time. The drama. So we've got the boys here, the chief analyst of FVS, Dave. Welcome to FVS Live.
Hola, everyone out there in Vuckland.
And, of course, we've got the man of the people also, Budza, all the way in Watsonia. Hello, Buds.
G'day. How's it going? I hope everyone's safe and well.
Yes, hopefully everyone's safe and haven't been affected too much by what's been going on. Obviously a shit time, but hopefully the next couple of hours people can forget about that and enjoy a classic Vuck match. So as we did last week, we go through a few categories as we're watching the game. We're also going to have Stefan Nigro join us a little bit later on in the broadcast, talking about his role in the game. Of course, he came on, he was put into the starting lineup at the very last minute after Rhys Williams went down in the warm-ups and scored a fateful own goal to kick things all off. And he'll be joining us a little bit later on the show. But as kickoff begins, we'll throw to the chief analyst. And Dave, give us a bit of a rundown as to this game, why it's so important, and what was happening in the lead-up.
It will be my absolute pleasure. What a game. Look, this particular season was just all about Sydney FC. It was the first chapter of their dominance in Australian football, which now stretches to this very day, I believe. Their dominance in that season was just astounding against all comers, but particularly against us. It should come as no surprise that it was all spurred on by their loss to us in that game we reviewed last week, that famous 3-0 grand final win. You might all recall that this was at a time for us where Sydney just keep getting the job done against us. It was about 3 games in a row we just struggled. We'd score 1, they'd score 2. And every time we played them, it was the same sort of pattern. And leading up to this game, it didn't seem at all conceivable that this pattern would change. And this was underscored even more when we found out in the lead up to kickoff that our best defender by a country mile that season, Rhys Williams, was out of the game due to a calf injury. So at that point, I think everyone deep in their little Vuck souls knew that this was going to be a monumental challenge. They had an awesome front third. Bobo led the line. Behind him was Ninkovic, O'Neill, Brillante, Mierziewski. They had the likes of Carney and Brosk in reserve, two very experienced campaigners. They had Wilkinson at the back, arguably the best Australian centre-half in the league, partnered by Geordie Boyce, tremendous import. Long story short, Sydney were in first position from round 7 onwards. They didn't lose that spot for the rest of the season. Bobo steamrolled the rest of the league in the Golden Boot, 27 goals in the league. The next nearest was Oriol Riera of the Wanderers on 15, and to best illustrate how far Sydney ahead were of us this season, Mirzievski, their attacking midfielder, ended up on 13 goals, which is the same amount of goals our marquee striker Berisha scored that season. Mirzievski, of course, ended up winning the Johnny Warren medal that year. And for us, the regular season was disappointing, to say the least. And it wasn't just disappointing, it was just downright weird. 12 wins, 5 draws, 10 losses. It took us an eternity to get going. We didn't win a game until round fucking 7. And somehow that first win actually came in Perth, a place we rarely take all 3 points. The highest position we occupied on the ladder all season was 3rd. And that was for 1 week late in the season. It was a season saw the arrival of Leroy George, Matthias Sanchez, Reece Williams and Kenny Askew. The recycling theme was in full swing. Mark Milligan, Costa Barbarouses and Thomas Deng returned. Although he was out on loan, so kind of still our player. But we had some big departures as well. Georgievski, FBK, Ansel, Guerrier and Rojas left the club. For Leroy George and Reece Williams early on in the season were the 2 shining lights. Coming back to the season overall, we finished that home and away season a staggering 23 points behind our foes in this semi-final. Sydney were just streets ahead, as I said. Only really Newcastle sort of came sort of close, and they were obviously our eventual grand final opponent. It was a season rival of Antonis, and the departure of Milligan at that time had a lot to do with it. Of course, this game, right after it was completed, the phrase "heist in the hunter" was coined. There was a sense in our heads this particular game that if we could get past Sydney, then we'd be confident, no matter who we met in the grand final, that we could potentially steal something. And astonishingly, leading up in that week, there was a chance we could have actually had 2 home grand finals.
Yep.
Had City have beaten Newcastle in the other semi. And the other thing that really tied things together for us, in this game, and not only did we eventually lift some silverware, but we beautifully denied Melbourne City a debut appearance in the Asian Champions League. And that's something that still burns them in the anus to this very day. Over to the match, I think, because this game had every form of drama you could possibly imagine. There's the sort of game that people with a heart condition should probably not.
The starting lineups, of course, the drama of the match and the first, before the kickoff was, of course, Reece Williams going down. The lineup, and we're talking about, said Dave, the best we could really muster is 3rd position on the ladder at any one stage, and it really just wasn't coming together for us or clicking at any stage during the season. But I think that perhaps, history might look back fondly on this team as not that bad. I mean, we look at the starting lineup. We've got Lawrence Thomas in goals, Lee Broxham, Stefan Nigro came in, James Donachie, Thomas Deng, Terry Antonis, Carl Valeri, James Teresi, Leroy George, Besart Berisha and Costa Barbarouses. So really a really great team on paper. Results, but really a pretty decent side on paper. So we go into this game as rank underdogs. I think the victory were about $4.50 to win. We ended up drawing the match, of course, so I think the draw was about $4. But Sydney, giving shit to Kevin Muscat all season during the podcast episodes. What were your memories of this team as Reece Williams head down to the tunnel to escape a bit of rain?
Look, I remember we did have a very big season of the podcast, and it was battle stations for a lot of it. And I think the main narrative that we had during the year for this side was that we don't want to waste Leroy George. We thought Leroy George was fantastic. We thought he was one of the best players we've ever seen in the side for our club. And you're right, we had some great players returning, and what we had a decent spine, a decent nucleus, and I dare say Reece Williams had one of his best years in terms of injury and being able to get on the park that he ever did. And I really thought that this was a side that overall underachieved greatly. But once we started this game, and I didn't think we had a chance. I remember I was watching this at your place in Brunswick. We had a lot of guys over that had given up on the Vuck. A lot that had walked away. But these occasions bring out the best for everyone. Jubilation. It was humongous.
Yeah. Oh, wait a second. There's some cops outside my window. Give me a sec. You keep going, boys. This is happening again.
Nothing strange there for LA, that's for sure. Barbarouses offside there, missed the target anyway. These early scenes in the game, I thought we held our own pretty well. We limited Sydney in their opportunities. In roughly 11 minutes' time from memory, Barbarouses hit the bar. So we came out with some vigour and some intensity in this game. And as I said, the trend at this time was Sydney completely dominating us. It's the inevitable. Yeah, it's not going to happen. So it's testament to, Muscat, some of the leaders in the club. But we talked about Valeria last week in terms of the amazing grand final win. But this time around, in attack, Barbarouses, Leroy George, and Bessar Barisha.
Yeah, it was just that. Yeah.
Unbelievable, side, and I reckon it still burns. Didn't make any sorts of arguments around the injustices of the A-League and how the rest of the world football awards. So, for us to become champions the way that we did, we peaked at the right time. That's really the be-all and end-all when it comes to this season.
Yeah, I think they it does burn for them because they would have three-peated, wouldn't they?
Pretty much, yeah.
They would have, yep. They were. They were lucky really to beat Perth last season. Of course, Perth were far and away the best team during the regular season, but then Sydney go ahead and win the grand final. So that's kind of the scene set. If you do want to join in during the broadcast, 8202-4976, the telephone line is open. I think a few people were trying to call just as we were kicking things off. Hopefully the connection isn't too bad. If there's any issues, just leave a note in the comments.
Call up now.
Yeah, I'll try and work it out. It's a bit frantic. Leave your comments as well during the course of the broadcast. We're not too far away from the first goal happening. There's lots of chances in this game as well. Not just the goals. Of course, there was 5 goals during the match, but lots and lots of chances and lots of different flashpoints. Dave, this was an intense game from the get-go.
Oh, mate. And speaking of intensity, the chewing gum in Kevin Muscat's mouth in this game, I don't know how many Stimorolls he went through, but he chewed the shit out of them for 120 minutes of football.
I don't reckon anyone listening, I reckon 85% of our listener base have no idea what Stimorol is.
I'm showing my age again. All right, I'll change it to juicy fruit. All right, so the juicy fruit in Kev's mouth, he would have gone through at least 2 or 3 rolls, I reckon.
Yeah, I think so. Juicy fruit loses its flavour very quick.
Very quickly.
Very, very quick.
I remember watching when I was editing this game to kind of edit out the pre-game stuff when Reece Williams went down. The juicy fruit was getting a fair workout for sure. Let's talk a little bit about kind of your thoughts, Dave, when you're watching the game at home back in 2018 and you see that Reece Williams goes down pre-match. I mean, this is a game that we were not going to win, hoping really for the best. And Reece Williams goes down, who was probably in our top 2. I think we said during the season that it was Leroy George. We'll talk about Leroy George in a moment too, but Leroy George and Reece Williams, and then basically the rest of the team weren't performing up to standard. So when Reece Williams goes down in the pre-game, you just think an impossible task has become just absolutely just unthought of. And somehow we pulled that out of the fire given the circumstances.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Like, we went in, like, our back four that whole season wasn't exactly phenomenal. You know, like, it's long been talked about how we haven't had a proper left back since, back in those days, since Traore. Obviously, he's back now. But, at right back, we end up, Thomas Deng, who had just come back from PSV that season, wasn't, hitting the lights out with his season. He had that one really good goal at Amy Park that everyone remembers. But, the back four, Reece Williams was the linchpin. And one of the reasons why we sort of kept our head above water the whole season. Jimmy Donachie is, a great soldier, but, you don't really put a great deal of faith in him as the kind of defender that's going to nullify, on a regular basis at least, the likes of Bobo, Mishievsky, Ninkovic, etc. So the confidence levels before this game kicked off were extremely low. And to think, 120 or 100 minutes or so later, even actually in the 90th minute or so, we were on our an astonishing set of circumstances when you consider everything. And Stefan Nigro, we'll talk about the impact of his efforts in this game. And to me, like, this game sort of underscores how a player like him is now lost to the game. He went up to Brisbane, didn't really make it up there, but he actually filled in really well. I felt, the own goal was extremely unfortunate. A young player that, obviously we backed him in for many seasons, or for the 2 or 3 seasons that he was sort of in and around the first team. And another little chance there, Leroy George. It's I don't know how to explain it. Like, as I said, I think it comes partly down to the fact that we sort of, as a team, we peaked at this particular moment. As I said in the sort of introduction monologue, like, Sydney were in first position from round 7 all the way through to whatever it is, round 23. So, there's a lot of water under the bridge, and, like, we reached this point in finals and we had specific players lift in specific ways. Lawrence Thomas, this game and the next, the most remarkable goalkeeping feats I've ever seen at Melbourne Victory, ever. Like, there is no goalkeeper at our club that has ever come close to what he does. And as we get through this game, you'll see why.
Yeah, absolutely. Dave, I think you might have just cut out just the last second there, but I think you're back in. It was just a quick down time.
Yeah, I was talking about Lawrence Thomas.
Yeah, and Lawrence Thomas for sure. So just a reminder, if you want to chip in and ask questions or anything in the Facebook comments, or also on the Facebook, on the WhatsApp as well. I'm just making sure that all the connection's still going. Seems like it's all right. Can you boys see the, what's it called? The game on your screen? Is it better this week?
No.
No, okay, all right. That's all right. That's too bad. I don't know what else I can do about that.
It was okay before when we were figuring some things out, but look, this little thing we've got going with the other devices, downloading the files working.
Yep.
It's better than last week, Jace, so I can make out a bit more, but I'm sticking to the original footage that I've got there, and it's working a treat. So hopefully the punters can see that too. I'll be back in a moment.
All right, no worries. Beer. All right, what are you drinking this? He's gone. What are you drinking tonight, Buds?
I've got one whiskey here, and I've got beers here. I've got one of each.
Nice, beautiful.
Beer with whiskey chaser. What about you?
Nothing for me tonight. I was thinking of having an iced coffee, but it didn't end up working out. So I'm just going with the water tonight. No tequila. Santino, thank you for your shout out, and thank you for making sure that the audio is all good. Just making sure, because my internet seems like it's fucking up tonight. So yeah, hope everyone's enjoying this so far. We're a couple minutes away from it all kicking off, and probably in the next 10 to 15 minutes, it starts to really, really heat up. please do call in on WhatsApp if you want, or also just leave some questions on the Facebook comments, and we'll answer them throughout the course of the stream. It's going to be a long one tonight because there is extra time, so lots of time to fill before Terry Antonis brings the house down a little bit later on. We'll wait for this is a huge chance as well. Kos Barbarouses hits the post. There's just so many chances in this one, especially with Sydney as well. There's lots of time the Victory defence are caught napping, and it could have really ended a lot differently than what it did. And just the plethora of chances during this match is unreal. Dave, we just saw Costa Barbarouses hit the post in the first real chance of the match, and there's just so many like those at the moment. What I love as well in this game as well, just it's coming up much later, is that Christian Theoharis, when he comes on, just the swagger and the confidence of the man when he comes on is just really pleasing to see. It made me think about our best youth players ever, and I think he has to be right up there as just I'm trying to think of who else you would have as someone that was as dynamic as Christian Theoharis. I know we've had some okay youth players, and Thomas Deng would probably be right up there as one of the most esteemed, but Christian Theoharis I think is one of the most exciting ones.
He is, and he's one of the enduring memories that I have from this game, because he's lucky that he left this game with his career intact after the challenge that Luke Wilkshire put in him. Luke Wilkshire, trailer trash piece of shit. He's as white trash as they come.
Not enough has been said about that over the journey.
It was an absolutely woeful challenge. I don't even think he didn't get it red, did he?
No.
He completely got away with it.
Of course not.
So Victory, another chance here, possibly. Barbarouses.
And the other enduring memory of this game, apart from Terry's performance and his woe to go, is the pathetic crowd that this all-conquering Sydney FC team put up. It was woeful. They knocked this joint down, and they're making it bigger. Why?
Yeah, that even seems like a worse idea now as well. Think about that now in the current context of the world, when the economy is collapsing. They've got a pretty much a dead space there that they've knocked down that was already ballooning out to be a bit of a white elephant. Is it? Was it white elephant? White elephant. That's the terminology. I think that I'd be surprised if that stadium gets built within the next 10 years, the way things are going. Hutch Rimmington's chimed in with a question. What's more important moving forward for the Vuck? A left back like the original Traore, or a central midfielder like Valeri? I'm going to say central midfielder for sure, right, boys?
Yeah, well, while we've got the original Traore in the squad still, or maybe, who knows? Definitely, we definitely need a midfielder.
100% the midfield, Hutch. That has to be the number one priority of the club this off-season, or who knows what actually is going to transpire given what we're all enduring right now. But that's the engine room. That's where things happen, in terms of possession of the ball, transitioning the ball, controlling a game. And in these seasons of success that we've had a good midfield, both in holding midfield roles, but also the creative elements as well. So, to me, having, an absolutely gun central midfielder, and when I say that, I mean, like, it doesn't have to be someone flashy in that sort of Valeri type role, because their job isn't meant to be flashy. Mezhievsky free kick and goal.
Yep.
Yeah, bote.
So Stefan Nigro scores an own goal. Sydney FC are 1-0 up in the 24th minute. Stefan Nigro, who of course comes on late in the starting defence in absence of Reece Williams, who goes down with a calf injury, I believe it was, in the final minutes of his warm-up. Comes on the pitch and scores first, but for Sydney FC to make it 1-0. And from here, I remember, boys, when this went in, it just... I mean, what else can you think at this time? You're down 1-0 to an own goal against the runaway premiers in the league, and there's just this feeling of I guess feeling of no hope that we can't turn this around. That might be a massacre.
Yeah, and obviously a year later that massacre did happen. Yeah. But look at it this way, like up until this point, I mentioned it in the introduction that these games, it was usually a case of us performing fairly well and getting a goal. And what's happened here is the opposite in the sense that we performed really well but had nothing to show for it. Hit the bar, a couple of near chances, a couple of offside calls where, we could have potentially got something. And now, we go 1-0 down, 24 minutes in. The feeling was pretty much, the inevitable is about to transpire. That's how I saw it, watching it live on my own, minding the kids on the couch. And that's really what we expected. So, from here on in, everything was just a bonus.
We scored every goal that night.
Yeah, we did score every goal. So 2 own goals and 3 goals for the Vuck. So, yeah, you're right. We did score every goal that night. Stefan Nigro scores an own goal, and from there it seems like it's an impossible task. Now, I'm going to just get a quick glass of water, boys, if you want to keep chatting.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I think this is where the manager and someone the likes of Kevin Muscat comes into play. We know that he's a great man manager in the sense of, a motivator and able to provide, as we get a glimpse of Leroy George crossing one in and narrow miss there. Carl Blurry on the end of that.
Fucking Redders, mate.
Yeah. It's incredible how many... hand of Carl. Andrew Redmayne, like so many other goalkeepers that walk through the doors of Sydney FC, what's his name? John Crawley, the goalkeeping coach over at Sydney FC, he just manages to... He knows how to polish turds, and with no disrespect meant, but, Redmayne was a pretty much maligned goalkeeper, sort of bit of a journeyman before here. Now he's borderline national team selection.
I love that you know who Sydney FC's goalkeeping coach is.
That's why he's the chief analyst.
Mate, he's Johnny Crawley's a bloody legend in Australian football circles as a goalkeeper himself. I think it's just because I'm a goalkeeper of back in the day. That's how I know that. I'm not going to give myself too much credit there.
Yeah,
Hand of Carl.
Matt McCall, Matt McCall in the comments just made a quick note that during this kind of era, we used to always score first against Sydney FC and lose the lead. This was kind of like the bucking of the trend during this time.
Generally, we couldn't score twice. Yeah. This was the biggest thing for us for about 2 to 3 seasons against Sydney FC. We just couldn't score twice, and it was a very unfortunate ending that happened to us season before in the grand final. And
it was a pattern.
It was a pattern, and it kind of went on after this game as well into this season.
Yeah,
and last season.
It all really began, that 2015 grand final. Graham Arnold was obviously in charge of Sydney FC then. He's in charge of Sydney FC now.
This is his last game.
This particular game, yeah. And I think that very much stuck in their craw. And as it would, you would come back the next season, you would want to make amends for what's happened. And, look, obviously the injustice is there in terms of the fact that they finished first and were so dominant that season. But, shit happens.
Ryan Bauer is watching. He's the guy that He's the guy that almost snapped my neck in the celebration in your lounge room, Jason.
Yeah, we're also getting some spam to win iPhones in the comments. That's how much this is popping up. People are spamming the comments with the iPhone giveaway. So yeah, thanks for that, Rich Price, and also hello to old mate Ryan Bauer. Thanks for tuning in, pal. I do remember he was there with us that night we were watching the game. I think
Is that Sydney's oligarch owner that was on the?
I think it might be Dave. Is that right?
Trevchenko? Yeah, yeah, the Russian. And his Russian-looking wife.
His Russian-looking wife. Oh, James Donachie and the blonde hair. It's,
of course, the peroxide
as well. The peroxide, which he fucked up originally. I think he did it at a redo to make it a little bit more blonde. It came out grey first go.
Ryan Bauer, champ, boss, pal. Yes, I agree. Good to have him on the telecast.
On the telecast,
87 people, 90 now.
90 now,
the numbers are just rising.
Yes, so keep tuning in. It's about to kick off. We're about to see. I
tell you what, boys, there's some very professional outfits in this country that'd kill for our numbers. Kill.
So there you go. This is a big flashpoint.
This is it, boys.
This is it. Now this is lucky. Costa Barbarouses.
Yes. Deflected.
1-1 deflected goal. Costa Barbarouses pre-Snake days when he was a very, very good player for the Vuck. Levels it up at 1-1 through a deflected shot in past Redmayne, and game on. The Vuck are back. Kenny Athieu with his pom-poms, as all good cheerleaders do, giving a G up from the bench. Well done to Kenny, playing a pivotal role there.
The ball through there was tremendous.
I really miss our sexy greaseball wogs in this team. I really do. Bad. You're just looking at the slicked Costa, Bess, Jimmy T, Terry. Jeez, we backed him a bit, but fuck, they were a good-looking bunch.
Yep.
It stings to see Costa do that and to know that he's now actually playing for them. It's just
now, boys, as I did say before, we've got Stefan Nigro, who spoke to me yesterday about this match. He was, of course, coming on for Reece Williams at the very last minute and scored that first own goal. So we had a chat to Steph about this game and his role in it, his memories of it. So I'll just get you boys to pop your microphones on mute for the next 14 minutes and 54 seconds while we have a chat to Stefan Nigro.
Alrighty.
Oh, that doesn't seem to want to work. Okay. Interesting.
Stuff you, Negro. I'm coming back on, mate.
Yeah, keep talking, Dave, while I sort out these little issues I've got here. Why is that not working?
Oh, look, deflected goal, but he did everything right. Yeah, and obviously you take them no matter what. It's sort of interesting how Wilkshire sort of stood off him a bit. I would have thought he would have challenged him there because Costa's...
Hey, Buds has got his his headphones off and he's watching the telecast.
Hey, Buds.
Put him back on.
Off him a bit.
We're having issues.
Challenged him there because Costa's...
Buds has got his his headphones off. This is going to be good.
He's going to realise right now.
Hey, Buds, put him back on. Off him a bit. We're having issues. Challenged him there
because like an amateur.
His headphones off.
You told me to take my fucking headphones off and put it on mute, mate.
I'm sorry about that. We had some issues. Just wait till you hear the Stefan Nigro interview play. I'm having some issues doing it for some reason, so give me a sec.
No problem.
Was that the feedback coming through? Or
yeah, he's watching the Facebook Live.
Just making sure that everything's great, and it is.
Okay, I figured it out. I think that my headphones were turned down on my phone, so let's just see if this works. Now, yep, it does. So, boys, Turn off your microphones and we'll listen to the dulcet sounds of me with Stefan Nigro. Is a player who played a very important and pivotal role that night back in April, or was it May or April of 2018? One or the other. It was late April, early May. I think it was April. Stefan Nigro, welcome, mate. Welcome to FVS. Thank you for taking the time out to have a chat to us.
No, anytime, mate. I've always been a big fan. I actually watched a little bit of that game last week. That grand final against Sydney. I was at the game, and it was pretty cool looking back on that. Even as I was in the youth team then, but it was pretty cool to see Amy Park packed, a sellout. So yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. In this game that we're doing this week as part of the live stream, as I said, you played a ridiculously huge role. I'm not too sure that you were expecting to play such a huge role about maybe half an hour before the actual game kicked off, but to take it all the way back, Rhys Williams, who was a solid defender for us all season, one of our best players, goes down in the warm-up with a calf injury. We were already underdogs heading into the match, and with Rhys Williams, we probably thought as fans that any chance that we did have was definitely dead in the water. You're replaced for him in the starting lineup. Take me back to your personal views of that night and what you were thinking when Rhys Williams goes down and Muskie says to you that you're coming on in one of the biggest games in Melbourne Victory's history.
Yeah, I remember the day really, really clearly. So I remember we were doing some shape work just pretty much 5 minutes before the warm-up ends, and the boys that are on the bench usually just apply some sort of pressure to the back four and they sort of play the ball around you. And Rhys went down after playing a pass, and I remember, I didn't think too much of it. I just thought, oh, geez, maybe he's just tweaked something. He should be okay. And I remember Kev said for me just to go to right back. I think Tommy went into centre half and just finished the warm up there. And we went into the rooms, and I saw the physio give all the coaching staff that look that said he's no good, and then that's when it all became really clear to me that I was playing. And I was like, that's never happened to me before, and especially in such a big game. No matter, you can't really prepare. No one expects that to happen. Once the game starts, you think, okay, I've got to be switched on, just in case I need to come on at any time, not before the game. And that's something that I got thrust in, and it was a crazy feeling. I remember standing in the tunnel just trying to mentally prepare, go through I had to remember all the set piece stuff, which usually look at before the game as well, once the game starts on the bench, not in the change room. So everything just happened really, really quick, and it's just one of those things that I'll never ever forget.
So what's the difference like that? Because you said that mentally you have to prepare a different way. You were on the subs bench, so I guess you might have prepared to feature as a sub at some point. But does that just drastically change when you're told you're starting about 15 to 20 minutes before a match starts? It
was literally 5 minutes before the boys went into the tunnel. So because I was out there for the last couple minutes, it was literally with 2-3 minutes left in the warm up. So we went inside, and that's when, the physio, as I said, gave the coaching staff the look and said, no, he's no good. And it was just one of those things that, you can't really prepare for because, as I said, as sub, once the game starts, because you warm up separately for most of it anyway.
Yep.
So once the game starts, you look over the set pieces, you look over all that stuff with the folder that gets passed around, all that. And then, usually after 20 minutes, you start your first warm-up. So, running, along the back of the goals there, dynamics, all that. So it's just so much different. And it's never happened to me before, and I doubt it ever will. It's just one of those, if just say it was 15 minutes before or, it happened at the start, you could have, preparing, you could have, taken a bit more time, but it literally happened 5 minutes before we're meant to be in the tunnel.
Crazy, yeah. That wasn't obviously the craziest thing that happened. It was a crazy night in general. Take me back even further, though, because the victory that season were frustrating, to say the least. You know, we finished in fourth, inevitably won the championship, but it was a real up and down season. Players were under pressure. Kevin Muscat was under pressure at certain points of the year to keep his job, as funny as that may sound in retrospect. Can you talk a little bit about just the year in general and your experiences, and also the lead up to that match, being rank underdogs and end up pulling out a huge surprise?
Yeah, I think throughout the year we got better as it went on, and I've seen that happen with a few A-League teams before. You know, your Adelaides that lost the first however many games ended up going undefeated for the rest of the year. I think we made a few late signings. We gelled as more and more as the season went on. You know, we did reasonably well in the Champions League as well. We nearly got out of the group there. All that, we just sort of, it all came together, and we had such a good culture. We had a lot of characters, a lot of really experienced players, and I honestly think that's what won us the title. Like, just between the tactically, as the season went on, we got even better, and the group of boys that we had, we were like brothers. We'd run through a brick wall for one another, and that showed in that game, especially the Sydney game. It all came out there. I think we got through the Adelaide game, and then that one, massive underdogs. No one expected us to win, and I think a lot of people didn't want us to win. You know, your neutral supporters, from a personal perspective, there was that game, especially the semi-final, was crazy, to say the least. I don't think I'll ever play in a game of that. Just the events that happened, being away from home, all that stuff, and then to come back and win it in the last minute of extra time was just, it's one of the games of all-time great games in A-League history, I think. Yeah,
absolutely. I was, recently viewing the highlights. Obviously, we're live streaming it right now as well. It's just so intense, that the match, chance after chance. You opened the scoring, of course, at the opposite end with the expertly placed header. What are your memories of the match? And take us back as well to your memories of scoring an own goal. I can only imagine you're a young player coming on as a starter with 5 minutes before the match starts. You're probably under the most pressure you've been under in your professional career, and this is a huge game, and you open the scoring with an own goal to go 1-0 down. I can only imagine that completely messes with your mind mentally as well.
Yeah, I think that particular, probably first 15 or so minutes up to that stage, is when I was getting used. Pretty much, that was like my warm-up. Like, I was getting used to the whole environment, but I wasn't expecting to play. It took me a little bit to settle in, and that pretty much after that, I actually, I spoke with the coaches and everything after. I actually played better after that happened. It was weird. Like, I remember not being at. There were a whole range of people in front of me. I couldn't actually see the ball, and I saw it. Like, got a little push behind me, and I actually couldn't see the ball. I literally caught me the millisecond before it hit me, and that's what.
You were stiff.
And I'll never probably make that mistake again. It's like the first time that's ever happened in my career as a young player. Every game you play, that little thing that might have gone wrong, you rectify that for the next game, and it keeps going throughout your career until you get more and more experience. And I think there was actually a point after that, and then in the grand final where there were similar circumstances, but I was there to clear the ball away. You always got to anticipate the ball's coming to you from every set piece. That's from then on in. Every single time there's a set piece, I'm just like, the ball's coming to me.
Yeah.
You don't wait. You don't think, it's not going to come to me. So yeah, that moment was probably a turning point. I remember saying to myself, I was like, this is not going to affect the rest of my game. I said that, and as soon as Costa scored that equaliser, it's like, it's done now. Finished 0-0, and let's get on with it and win. And from then on in, second half, I played even better, and as the game went on, I got more and more comfortable, even deep into extra time. So yeah, it was, as I said, it was an absolute crazy game. Something that I'll probably never play in a game like that again. Just, as I said, all the events, we scored all 5 goals.
Yeah.
I think it's something that I learned from, and it's something now that I can look back on and say I learned from that, and also have a little bit of a laugh about it, because we went on to win the championship. So it's something that, I can take a little bit lightheartedly now.
Yeah, of course, and you also feature as a starter in the championship game as well. So just a huge fortnight for you. I want to talk about as well. Firstly, the Terry Antonis own goal. Where were you for it? Where on the pitch were you? What was your reaction? What happened amongst the players? What was going on during that frantic last 5 minutes when you're copping a barrage, trying to withhold it, and then Terry Antonis puts one into the back of his own net?
It all probably started a little bit before that, when I saw, Matt Simon came on, and I knew then they'd just lump it long.
Yeah.
And I backed Donks and Tommy to win the headers against him, because they're both really good in the air as well. So they're not going to give him a free run. But the guy's huge, so he was flicking stuff on. We were, blocking shot. Lawrence was unbelievable in goals. His final series was unbelievable. I remember, you'll see it in the game, they're in the box, someone goes to shoot, I go to block it, goes to Ninkovic, Lawrence saves it, and then Terry puts it into the roof of the net, and it's a complete, he hasn't meant to do, he's trying to launch it, it's at an awkward height for him, it's up sort of above his hip, he's tried to just put it out of play, and it's just completely gone wrong for him. And I remember it happened, and that stadium erupted, and I think I fell to the ground. I just looked up at the sky. I was like, what is going on? But everyone just looked at each other, and you can't help at the time but be like, oh, like what? Literally, it was like one of the last kicks of the game, and being away from home, they got on top of they were saying stuff to Terry because he used to play for them, and for him to then come back and score the winner is a testament to the guy. Like, the emotion, you see him with tears in his eyes after he scores. Like, I can only imagine what he felt like, and that just topped off the night, I think.
Yeah, what was the atmosphere like in the change rooms after that? Just a crazy ending.
Buzzing. Even Archie came in. He was doing the Fox. He was doing the Fox Sports commentary, and he came in after it, and we were jumping around, and all the board and the sponsors came in as well. It being away from home, backs against the wall. Everyone's, all the neutrals are going for Sydney. Everyone's backing Sydney to beat us. I don't think we'd beaten them that year. They'd beaten us every single time we played them in the regular season. So, the scene, unbelievable scenes after the game. And, we, at dinner that night, the coaches stood up and just said how proud they were of us, but we hadn't achieved anything yet. There was still one more game to go again, where people didn't want us to win away from home. Newcastle were a very good team that year, and people probably didn't expect us to win either. So I think, all the finals games, the first one we scraped through, and then backs against the wall for the others. It's a testament to the group, because that group of players was, culturally the best group of boys I've ever played with.
Yeah. And I think that's reflected in that documentary that was on Fox Sports as well. The camaraderie, and Cavalera's spoken about so often. The culture that he kind of built a little bit when he came to the club himself and Kevin Muscat. It seemed like a real family type atmosphere, and I think that they kind of really punctuate that point every time they talk about it back in the day. That kind of family feel, and you can really sense that certainly in that documentary. And obviously culminates in a championship, an unlikely championship after 3 crazy weeks in the final series. So an amazing kind of tribute to you guys, just sticking with it, working hard at coming up against adversity, and time and time again proving the doubters wrong. Amazing. Stefan, thank you so much for joining us and reminiscing. Fantastic look at the game from a really unique perspective. One of the most important men of the night, and a goal scorer, no less, as well.
My first professional goal.
Oh, really? Was it?
I don't think I hadn't scored until then, so it's probably it's one I'll always remember, but it's just at the wrong end.
Yeah, exactly. But it all worked out in the end.
Yeah, that's the main thing. That is the main thing.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, cheers, Stefan. Thank you very much for coming on FVS Live.
No problem. Take care, mate. Bye.
So there you hear from Stefan Nigro. Thanks very much.
That?
Yeah, thank you very much to Stefan Nigro for
someone
taking the time.
there on the pitch.
From someone there on the pitch and the guy who scored the own goal, one of the young players. Here we go. Just as Stefan Nigro finishes, James Teresi makes it 2-1 to the Vuck with one of the most famous celebrations in Vuck history, I'd say.
Yeah.
All right.
Bang.
Break it down for me, Dave. Break it down for me.
The build-up for Teresi's goal was up there. Let's not forget, in the context of a season that was pretty average, up there with the best football we've ever seen. So Barbarouses breaks out onto the right and has to move quickly and find Berisha. Now, Berisha often would make the wrong decision here. Being a striker, being a typical greedy striker, he could have just pulled the trigger. But he was instrumental there in just making the right decision in a game, let's not forget, where he wasn't cited all that much. But in all honesty, it was all about Troisi's celebration. So there's so many reasons why he did what he did. Yeah. So this was around the time, I guess, where I think he was copping a bit of flack. He just getting, becoming a bit invisible in games at certain times as well. But it wasn't quite the time where he wasn't getting call-ups for the national team. But, yeah, so the build-up, as I said, Barbarouses just threaded a needle to that pass to Berisha. And Berisha somehow just having the vision and foresight to see Troisi making that run.
Yeah, a huge moment in this game.
Look at Arnie's face.
Yeah, Troisi scores.
It was a misplaced pass too that started this all too. So Sydney hadn't had too many of these instances where a team's gone and actually made them pay for a mistake, and we haven't had these instances where we've gone into a break 2-1 up against Sydney. So this is actually uncharted territory for both of these sides for the year, right when it matters. So this is where the intensity of the game just went absolutely bananas.
Yeah, exactly. And we're 48 minutes into the game, and we go 2-1 up. And even, we talk about the mental feeling we had, when we went 1-0 down. We go 2-1 up, and we're just like, it's too far away.
It's way too far
final
away.
Whistle.
No, it's way too far away. And this was a really big moment for Troisi too, because if you remember in the grand final that we lost to penalties on them, he was within a couple of millimetres of the ball, the other side of the post, to absolutely winning it for us in normal time before penalties. So it was a bit of redemption for him as well.
And that was probably part of it, the celebration.
Yep. Troisi again, very close to finding Bessart Berisha to
we just got it.
Make it
We got in behind their back four so much in this first half. I don't know whether it was the weather or it was just this team, and they started the game in the right mindset. Every single player was pretty much on in this first half. It was so good. Apart from the Nigro incident, which everyone can see that he was stiff, and we've just heard him talk about it. That was probably the only low light. It was a costly low light, but that was it for the half. Everyone came out and was on their A game.
And Sydney really turned up the heat on the Bunsen burner, obviously for the remaining parts of this half. And I think what Vuck fans are going to get a sense of in watching this remaining 40 minutes is just how good Lawrence Thomas was.
And extra
not
time
only
as well.
In this game.
He was
extra time,
immense
exactly.
in extra time. It was immense in extra time. And Lawrence Thomas, throughout the course of the two final series he's played in that we've won championships in, he's been immense in both. He's been one of the most important, if not the most important player. Leroy George on the ball right now. Didn't have a great game in this one, or I guess a notable game, nor did he have a great game in the grand final, but I think in this season he had 15 assists, which is immense. 15 assists is huge. I think his goals and assists output was far and away larger than any kind of foreigner playmaker type player that we've had. I think I compared the numbers against Carlos Hernandez in his first year, and it wasn't even close. Leroy George monstered him in terms of output. We spoke about it, I think, before about FBK last week and how good his first season was. How big, Dave, was Leroy George's one and only season with the Vuck? Could you say it's one of the best individual seasons for a Vuck player ever?
It's up there. It's certainly up there from a foreigner standpoint, because we were a mediocre side. We didn't achieve much in this. As I said, there were 12 wins across the season. So just under half of the games we actually managed to win in this season, which isn't what you would ordinarily call a championship side. This really was an outlier of a season.
It was a pussy season.
Exactly.
It was a pussy season.
As the man said. And it's probably I think we all got a bit, got our backs up a bit about that when he said it, but there's an element of truth to that, somehow we were champions in a season where, we won 12 games and finished 23 points behind the league leaders. And so it is a weird thing, but it is an Australian thing. So it does happen. It's happened in Aussie rules. My Bulldogs did a similar thing back in 2016 with winning the whole thing from seventh. So
and let's not forget these things happened in this utopian era of the NSL as well.
Indeed.
Games like this, though, make you realise just how good final series are. I know there are a lot of Euro snobs about people that like bashing the A-League, particularly in this country, funnily enough. And one of the first things they go to is the final series. But the kind of drama that you get in finals games, especially like this, is something that's really unmatched in the regular season. The intensity is right up there. And you might have that in the regular season in Europe maybe once every couple of years when a title race is close or a relegation race. But very very often in A-League games you get the kind of drama that is finals football. So I'm a complete advocate of finals football.
Yeah, mate. Finals footy under lights with the big rivals going at each other. It's good. It's good.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the Sydney fans didn't think of it to show up though, which is really disappointing.
Oh, it's super disappointing. They've had the Wanderers there to try and they need to probably, I don't even know what I'm trying to say here. The Wanderers showed the way Sydney for quite a number of years, but Sydney FC have never really gone up to that level.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if the A-League ever comes back into fruition, which is questionable, maybe the MacArthur side will have fans that can take the step that Sydney FC's never been able to do. They're just a pathetic fan base.
Yeah. Now, Rudy Edsel is saying that the problem with finals football is when there's games of 0-0 draws and pens like there was last year. You do get the occasional stinker, but then you get matches like this that live on in folklore forever. So I think that there's definitely some merit in that.
That's football, though.
Yeah.
That's football. There's 0-0s all over the world in every weekend.
We've got the Sydney fans chewing their nails.
Huh? There's a few of them.
Yep. It's big advantage the Vuck have with such a long time to go in the match. We've got, of course, the phone lines open. If you want to give us a call on that WhatsApp number you see on your screen, it's a free call. WhatsApp, you can just call in and have a chat to the boys. We've got about, another 40 minutes to kill before the Terry Antonis own goal. So give us a call. Tell us what you're doing on the night. Tell us what you thought about this season in general. Even if you want to tell us, what game we should do next week. If we come back next week, hopefully we do.
I've been trying to G Santino to call you again because he's absolutely on fire on the messages.
Yeah,
I just think he'd be well placed to make a call.
Yeah, he probably would be. He's probably got the ability to make that call. Of course, the number one ticket holder, you'd say, of FVS, Santino, the number one boy.
Big prizes for the best caller, but obviously social distancing measures apply, so you'll get them when the bans are lifted.
Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna put this out there to the 90 or so people that are watching. If you ring up and you live within a reasonable distance of where I live, I'll drop you off a stubby holder.
There you go. Perfect.
I'll leave it in your letterbox. Social distancing. No, not Santino. He's in Geelong. I'm not going to Geelong.
Santino will have to come to you.
Yeah.
Stephen Smith asks, "Hey buds, what temp do I want for the roast beef to medium?"
Oh, good question.
What do you mean? The internal temperature of the meat?
I don't know. Yeah, probably the temperature of the oven, I'd say.
What cut? How many kgs of the cut? Let me know.
It's all dependent on the kgs of the cut. So, Steve, if you can reply back, just give us a bit more info on the size of the beef.
We talking
the
a brisket
kg value,
or
I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah,
We're waiting for Steve.
The cut's important.
The cut is important.
On comes Ben Warland, who, as we're going to find out, and it's interesting with Geordie Boyce coming off, obviously not planned for Sydney FC because he was so instrumental for them in this particular season. But Ben Warland actually had a gilt-edged chance to put the game to death. So wait and see. Sorry, not to put it to death, but to basically equalise way before they actually did equalise.
Steve's replied that it's a 1 kg blade roast. So, if you've got a thermometer there, Steve, you probably want the middle of it to be about between 60 to 65 degrees to be a nice medium. Make sure you rest that sucker for about the same time, if not a little bit more than what you've cooked it for.
Is he slow cooking it, or was it a roast?
I think it's in an oven, Dave.
Yeah, I think
it's an oven.
I think he's putting it in an oven.
Okay.
We can't all have slow cookers. Like you have a Thermomix, don't you, Dave? We've got a caller.
Yeah.
We've got a caller.
All right. Yeah, I've got a thermo. Thermo's bloody unreal.
Oh no, we've got a prank
he's hung
caller.
up.
We've got a prank caller.
It's probably some Sydney FC fan.
Prank caller.
Eat shit,
prank
you dog.
Ivan Stragan, I still remember offering to pay for your tickets after this semi-final.
Yeah,
Jason.
he did. We got there in the end, though. We got there in the end, which was the grand final itself was one of our best weekends as a crew heading up to.
How good was it?
To Sydney? I think that just every little thing went right for us, didn't it, Dave?
So we flew up to Sydney, but then obviously we hired a car to drive from Sydney to Newcastle, and everything went right. Like, we ended up sleeping at the pub that the Vucks were all partying at before and after. And I remember being the eldest of our little triumvirate. I went to bed, I think it was about probably 12:31 a.m. after a fairly big day.
That's why you got duties to drive back.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, I got out of that one. I got to say I didn't have to drive up or back, so it was good. Well done, boys. Thank you.
But I remember
I still owe you.
I was in bed, tucked away, and the fucking fire alarm went off.
Yeah, well, that's because because there was some
someone lit a
lads
flare in the pub.
They ripped some pyro and threw it into the TAP area.
And so there's all these half asleep people walking out in the hallway just going, what the fuck's going on? And there was a fire alarm, and we're thinking, shit, we're going to have to evacuate the building. But no, it was just a flare. On your Buck fans.
Yeah, I think possibly we might have someone who ripped that flare possibly watching on tonight. So if it was you, I think I remember the person. I can't remember the name at the moment, but I do remember that flare going off that night. We also got lounge access, Dave. Qantas lounge access before our flight up to Sydney.
The only way to fly, baby.
Was my first experience in a lounge, and that was very, very good. Very good precursor to a very big day. The next morning wasn't great. I think I did sleep. We had I thought the lounge.
I think you did.
I thought the lounge access post.
Yes.
In Sydney on the way home, there was some very good. If I remember, it was a pea and ham soup going around.
Mm-hmm.
It was
a perfect hangover cure.
I think George Danikian was in there too. We had a chat with George Danikian and thought the pre-game beers with Vince Rigari at the pub in Newcastle were good too. We caught up with some of your Brunswick crew, Jason, and that was good. That set the day off and the night off very well.
Vince Rigari and Emma Kemp rocked up to specifically to come and have a word with us. I felt quite overwhelmed by that because we were busy packing our room with our luggage from the car, and Vince Rigari was texting me and he's saying, "Oh, we come to this pub specifically to hang out with you. Where the fuck are you?" And I was like, "Well, we'll be there in a minute, mate." I was like, Jesus.
Yep.
That was stars in the eyes kind of moment. But what a day.
What's your personal favourite away moment? Like when you've been on an away trip, what's your personal favourite moment? It doesn't have to be that trip, but overall.
Mine was I think it might have been 2009. There was a very big march in Sydney from, I'm pretty sure it was the Bat and Ball. And outside the Sydney Football Stadium, there were a couple of hundred of us. There was a lot. And we ended up kicking, me and a few others ended up kicking an exit door on the outside of the stadium. And the stadium door, and that door flung open. And instead of going through the turnstiles, about 1,000 Vuck fans just went through this exit door that got flung open. And we just paraded into the stadium and just absolutely let it off that night. I'm pretty sure that also may have been the 2-0 singing in the rain. Danny Allsop and Archie Thompson. Maybe I got my years wrong.
Laurie Thomas just made a good save. Sorry, there was a bit of action going on while you were talking, but Laurie Thomas just made a great save. Another one of his Herculean efforts. I remember going to Sydney as well, just because, of course, the Sydney Cricket Ground is right next to the Allianz Stadium. I remember just walking in with one other bloke, Denzo. You guys know Denzo. We walked into just the back door of the Sydney Cricket Ground, and we just saw where it would lead. And for some reason, the cricket ground was empty. I think there was a game on earlier that afternoon, but it was just kind of like we could just walk in, and we just walked, and within about a minute and a half, we were in the coach's box in the Sydney Cricket Ground, just about half an hour before kickoff of the football match. So excellent access into the Sydney Cricket Ground. That's a memory that sticks out for me, but not my best one. Dave, what's your best?
Yeah, there's many, but they always seem to gravitate around Adelaide away. And I think the one where Black Friday was happening in Victoria, and a few of us had done a road trip up to Adelaide. It was a phenomenal experience. It ended up on the front page of The Age sports section. I actually have that picture framed because I'm in it from the away end. An amazing Melbourne victory win against Adelaide up there. Yeah, so it was unfortunately, obviously, tragedy was unfolding in Victoria at the time. We didn't know until we were driving back just how bad things were. But yeah, most of the good trips for me have been Adelaide away. A couple of good Sydney ones too. I think I was at that same one that Buds is talking about as well in Sydney as well, from memory. Although, to be honest, like 2007, 2008, 2009, a lot of the away trips seem to sort of blur into my memory because being the lad that I am, I just, obviously it's quite away trips. It's with the lads. You get pretty loose and... Yeah, specifics have to sort of trigger my memory.
There were really good marches back then. In those years, I remember when going to Sydney, Scruffy Murphy's was one of the bars, was one of the pubs to go to. I don't believe it's called that anymore, but it always smelt of talcum powder. It had cheap Tui's new schooners. Look, I still think Sydney is the best away trip if you get a win. If you get a win and there's a decent contingent that goes up, there's something about it. And we can talk about all the different rivalries that we have in the league, and we have a few, but for me it's always Sydney. It's always Sydney.
Yeah, I'm more inclined to say Adelaide, but I get what you mean about the Sydney trip as well. I mean, when you get that win, it's unreal, and I like Adelaide because everyone's centred on Hindley Street before and after the game, so everyone's just in the same area.
Adelaide's probably a more fun trip. I've always felt like there's less rules in Adelaide, like the afters.
Yeah.
The afters in Adelaide are always good. Look, they're both great trips. I really need to go on another away trip. Hopefully,
for me.
Hopefully the league comes back. Otherwise, we'll just be doing retrospective FVS replays for the rest of our careers until something happens.
Yeah. Steve Smith just in the comments asked if I was going to put the audio of this out as a podcast. I don't think it would translate as a podcast because, number one, it's going to go for about 2.5 hours, and I think it's pretty heavily reliant on the vision as we see Matt Simon preparing to come off and come on. And it's funny to hear Stefan Nigro talk about Matt Simon that night, and just, I mean, he's the same player every time as a super sub. He's that player that that just is an absolute pest, but is effective. But we are doing a podcast. We're actually going to. I'm going to record one. I think I'm not too sure if you boys are coming on. Terry Antonis also almost scores a goal from long range there. But we're going to do a podcast tonight after this with some boys from the Western Sydney Wanderers podcast, Destruction the Box, the Soccer podcast. So there'll be a podcast coming within the next 24 to 48 hours. So we are going to do one in addition to this.
Matt Simon.
Santino's asked, has any Vuck fans been interviewed by the club and put on the Victory website? I tell you what, Santino, if you ring up, I'll get Jason to snip this, and then I'll talk to Jeremy Arnold in the Victory media department, and I'll try and get them to play it on the website.
Yeah, it's true. Give us a call, Santino. Tell us about your thoughts on that night. And we'll see if we can tee it up. I think that old mate Timmy, who was watching on in the comments last week, he appeared as the featured member on the website this week. There's been a couple of featured members over the last couple of weeks by the club, so nice for those members to get some recognition.
I'm going to get some beverage. I'll be back.
Okay. All right. Dave, you're on mute there.
Yeah, coming back to the whole away trip thing, Adelaide and Sydney, top two, obviously, but for me, it's just always Adelaide. Like, I always check to see when a fixture is released. Given my away trip availability, shall we say, has diminished since having kids, I still get permission, shall we say, to go to one or two per season. And if an Adelaide game is on a Saturday night, then it's an absolute dream of a scenario because you head up there on the Friday and you head back on the Sunday. It's perfect. And look, Adelaide is just that much because it's more enclosed, it's easier, it's simpler to get around. The Hindmarsh experience as well is just superior to anything that Sydney can possibly offer up. You're in a stadium where, there may only be 15,000 people in there, tops, but you feel like it could be 100,000 people, the way the volume and the sheer animosity that South Australians have for us Victorians. Yeah. It's there and it's present all the time. So for me, Adelaide, and that's the last one I went on. Last season, just gone. When did I go? Oh, yeah. It was a very blurry weekend away. It was fantastic. Adelaide to me is number one for an away trip easily.
Yeah, some people commenting that they've been to a lot of away trips but never seen a win. I know a few people like that. One of my mates, Sammy Poole, he went to about, I think it was like 20 or something, 20 games, away matches where without a win. And I'm pretty sure that this one was actually his first away trip win. So he went to like something like 20 games or something like that, including the 2017 grand final. So yeah, he's he had a bad run of luck with it. But a lot of people kind of that seems to happen to. I've been pretty lucky with away trips and seeing a lot of wins.
Controversial moment here, Jace, where a couple of slices of cheeses were handed out. Terry Antonis included. Mm-hmm. This is what I was talking about before. Sydney really obviously started to pile on the pressure here because they knew what we were going to do as soon as Troisi scored that goal. We were obviously going to take a more defensive shape. And they brought on Matt Simon to sort of to fuck shit up a bit and really start to, I guess, antagonise and everything like that. And that's exactly what's happened here. But we held our shape. We held our shape for the bulk of the game, and it was just, that unfortunate incident that we're not far off from witnessing. But yeah. Oh, I can hear a baby in the background there, James. That must be you.
No, it's not mine. It's Buds has got his hands full, I think. Oh, that went close.
Yeah, Brandon O'Neill. This is a game that Brandon O'Neill would certainly forget, wouldn't he? The word forlornly. Let's just take a moment to because when the actual moment happens later on, we want to enjoy the moment and not talk about it too much. But the word forlornly has become a favourite word amongst Vuck fans over the past couple of years. Terry Antonis had no right to get through there. I think every Vuck fan can probably recite word for word what Simon Hill said in the lead up to that goal.
Yeah, I think he's spoken about that a little bit as well. That commentary, and it's one that's going to live on in folklore for sure. And we've got
it's going to be a substitution.
Sanchez, I think, was didn't add much, did he, to the table? Didn't bring much to the table.
I kind of feel like this season would have gone better if we had swapped the sort of Hispanic foreigner that we had this season for the one we had the season before. Imagine if we had Raul Buena in this season instead of Matias Sanchez.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't.
Buds really should have put his mic on mute.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't rate
mic
Buena.
on mute.
I'm sure it'll come back.
Carry on.
I didn't rate Raul that much. I thought he was a bit of a nothing player as well. But he spent a fair bit of time off the park as well. There we go. Says Budza. Welcome back.
Sorry, boys. I had a Tony Soprano moment where I just got stuck standing at the fridge eating deli meats.
Yes. Yep. Oh, that means I really want to go eat some salami now.
Yeah, I opened the fridge, grabbed the beer, and I'm like, ooh, salami. So I just ate salami and cheese. And
so Troisi's off here. This is pre his head shaving era.
Troisi's off.
Thing is, like, as a man who's got a receding hairline myself, mm-hmm. right? I look at Troisi's hairline at this point, which is when he decided to shave his head.
He had more time
after this.
He had more time.
I reckon he had more time to run with a bit of the hair. Like, I think he went too early on the shave head thing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think he went too early.
Matt with that. Simon,
maybe,
dog.
But it happened during an off season, so maybe it just deteriorated to a point during that off season that it was just like he couldn't.
That doesn't happen though. It's a gradual thing. I can testify to that.
Yeah. Someone's talking about Simon Hill's commentary, Hutch, but saying it's nothing in comparison to the little Simon Hill video they released today, called the Andrew Love.
That was so good. I mean, it was good, but it was bad.
Yeah, it was good, but it was bad. Yeah.
He did an A-League. If you haven't seen it, Simon Hill is on Twitter, and he did like a video of himself isolated, and he did a Tainted Love cover, but based on A-League themes. So Leandra Love was obviously a big feature of that.
Santino, if you want to know what beer I'm drinking, you will have to call up and ask.
Yeah, and someone give us a call in. Ryan Bauer, if you're watching, someone give us a call. We need a bit of content from the listeners. We've got a lot of comments coming
Chris
through.
Johnson, give us a call, mate.
Yeah,
don't be shy, buddy.
Give us something. So this is pretty amazing as well. So when you think about it, so James Teresi comes off. I know Leroy George and Bessart Barisha are both substituted later on before the end of the match as well, before end of regular time. So we go into extra time, not only with morale down because of an own goal, but 3 of our best players off because Kevin Muscat thinks he's had the game won. So that just adds to this whole drama of it. We go in with a really threadbare squad in the extra time period, missing Bessart, missing Leroy George, and missing James Teresi. Ooh, another huge save by Lawrence Thomas.
A double save. Fuck. So LT, like.
Oh, he's angry. He's angry.
On, save from. A shot from Mierzejewski after that Donachie blunder at the back, and again underscoring why he was so important in this final series. That amazing double save just there. Mm-hmm. As I said, like the best goalkeeping we have ever. Here we go, replay. If you just missed it, like look at this. Like then he has to get up and recover. Then he has to actually, and granted.
Oh, and Carney. Like Carney coming on his Melbourne victory's kryptonite. We talked last week. We talked last week about how we had the heebie-jeebies about playing against Shane Smeltz and what he could possibly do for us. David Carney was. We saw it the year before, or the grand final that we lost against them when he scored against us. But he left his best work for us, and I hated him.
So Kenny Athew about to come on to do what Kenny Athew does, which is
nothing.
Apologies to Kenny if you're watching, but you haven't done much, have you? It's been a long time between drinks.
You boys love going in hard on some of our players, like both of you.
Well, you guys how it is, don't you?
You just interviewed Stefan Nigro, and he was saying he tuned into last week's thing. I reckon a lot of the players are bored right now in isolation, thinking, "Oh, what can I do other than watch a video of myself?"
Daniel Georgievski's an FVS loyalist now. He's tuned in 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, he tuned in tonight as well. So, nice to see Danny Georgievski tune in. Would have liked to see a phone call from Danny last week. If there's any players,
Danny, can you just call us to tell us you've signed? Please.
If you know anyone,
I'd die to have you back in my team, Danny.
Where's the other Georgievski, the guy in the south end?
Yeah.
Kire Georgievski. Come on. Use your powers of being a masso and give Daniel a text. I don't think so. I think it's just one of those, it's like in Macedonia, it's like Smith. So
Oh, Ernie's in the crowd. I didn't notice that last time.
Yeah,
he's watching.
Ernie was scouting.
Yeah, Ernie's scouting.
Looking at his opponent for the following week. Do you reckon Ernie would have preferred Melbourne victory or Sydney for this game, for the grand final?
Victory for sure.
Absolutely.
Rudy Edsel in the comments is saying, to be fair, Kenny, he dispossessed the Sydney bloke to set up Antonis winner, so he actually...
always defending Kenny. Always defending Kenny.
He is. I have to watch that replay back very closely. I didn't realise that Kenny was instrumental in setting up that winner. I would have said that Antonis running half pitch...
He's right.
Was instrumental, but let's see if Kenny can redeem himself.
No, he's right. Kenny was involved.
I'm hoping he's wrong. I'm hoping that somehow history changes.
We're probably just lucky Kenny was way out of position and not in an advanced role.
And this is in the 81st minute now, and this is when Sydney really start coming.
Let me just say here, the fucking nerves. I've never, I felt nerves. Like, there are points in time where I have to walk away from the television watching sport. It happens many times, and Jason, as the Essendon man that you are, we all know that watching our Bombers can be a very, very, very frustrating time in the clutch.
Yes.
And you being a big fan of the Oklahoma City Thunder, they're a terrible fourth quarter team, and they wasted MVPs by the bucket load. And as a Liverpool fan for a long time, they've always choked and done it the hard way. This was fucking excruciating. Mm-hmm. This was the most excruciating. Was as anxious as it gets.
And you're right,
just on the comments, Alexander, classic case of misidentifying a player.
I guess we're going to see.
Right, moving on.
Yeah, moving right along.
You were saying, Jason.
So I was saying that, just as you make that point, as an Essendon fan, as an OKC fan, and seeing those teams just fuck things up a lot, and you just kind of say to yourself, this would happen to me. This would happen, that Sydney FC are going to pull something out of the fire here. I was expecting it. Wasn't surprised at all when they did inevitably score. I was just expecting it, because this is just me as a sports fan. I haven't been. I guess I've been most lucky with victory as a sports fan, but
yes, definitely.
I had the worst luck with teams holding on to leads.
Mate, before I was 20, all of my teams won. 20s and 30s, it's been barren, absolutely barren. If it wasn't for the victory, geez.
We've been blessed.
The victory had been the beacon of hope.
Yeah, 4 titles. It's almost like it happens so often you don't appreciate it enough. I think that's almost a curse sometimes as well. Here comes Kenny Athiu to make a barnstorming run down the left-hand side. Oh, that's all right. Shot on target. That's all right. Rudy Edsel is vindicated.
Applauding in the background.
Do you think Rudy Edsel's yelling at the TV? Come on, Kenny! Come on!
He's just hoping it's
to be fair, it's like at this particular time, let's not forget that Kenny was a new signing this season. So I think we all had an element of this guy's a star of the NPL at this particular time, and I think when you look to sign local players, you have that hope that they'll make that transition. Look, obviously, with the passage of time, things have changed, and unfortunately, it hasn't panned out as we would have liked. But it's not to say that it's all over, because I hate saying this, but who the hell knows what composition the A-League is going to take in the coming years, given the crisis we're currently living in. Like, things, how many, obviously I know that in this podcast that some of us here are doing literally right after this recording, a big topic is going to be, 6 out of the 11 clubs have stood down their players and have stopped paying them, much to the chagrin of the PFA. So we are in dire straits right now at the moment as a club. But obviously, Melbourne Victory haven't done that, and I think our coffers financially are well stocked enough to keep things afloat for now. But can you imagine, what? And here's the advantage that Melbourne Victory have: a lot of our squad, their contract's up at the end of this in a couple months. Mm-hmm. So we pay them until, I think it's May 31 this year, and then it's just a reset button. It's like about 6 players that we still have on our books. So did Melbourne Victory see the coronavirus coming? Is that what? No, but it's a tough situation right now.
Don't ever doubt those in the fruit and vegetable game, mate.
Yeah, well, yeah, it just works to our advantage. What have we got? 18 players out of contract. So, yeah, did we see the coronavirus coming? Who knows? We're going to be chatting about that on the podcast that we're just about to do after this. It's going to be about 3 or 4 hours of content for us, boys. Hopefully
I'm going to see if the missus lets me get away with that being
Yeah, I don't think I'm
tucked away in this room, but we'll see how we go.
I think once this game's done, I've got to step off. I'll probably be able to step back in.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah.
If I'm allowed to keep the feed going, Jace, tell those other boys I'll jump in as well.
Well, it'll be a different platform, so it won't be this one. It'll be on Squadcast, which is what we usually use to record. What have your views been looking at everyone taking their podcast remote when we've been doing it forever, and now it's the cool thing to do?
Oh, it's just like when we used to fuck off to a different pub.
Yeah,
and then everyone within 3 or 4 weeks, everyone was there. In the early years, it's just the way it is.
That reminds me, yeah. We did that for many years. We used to we're not going to this pub anymore because everyone comes to this pub now. We'd move to another pub. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, everyone would rock up. Nah, we're going to another pub. It sounds a little bit, I don't know.
Oh, we used to want to have our own little cubby house.
Yeah, cubby house, yeah.
Yeah, we did. Now, somebody did ask in the comments if we can play the Titanic music. Yeah, I've got it lined up.
All right, you play the Titanic. I'm not going to add it to the broadcast. If I touch anything, it's going to fucking explode.
I've got it. Look, if you can see, I've got it lined up to Celine Dion.
Have you got it lined up at the exact moment? Or the...
I've got it to the.
And you can see the viewer numbers are starting to increase. Everyone's starting to time
because they know what's coming.
They know what's coming. They know it's about a half hour of power. Bessart Barisha is off. James Tracy is off. Kevin Muscat thinks he's got this game won. He just has to.
Bess has got that look on his face. He's like, I'm off the pitch now. Game is over. I can't be blamed for anything.
These guys better not fuck this up. I am.
It 2-1 up, you know. I help us get to here. Me and Jimmy on the bench.
Imagine we got the extra time, Jimmy. You will lose all your hair.
That's how it happened, Jace. Oh, fuck.
Look at all those dickheads.
Hey, guys, 88 minute here.
Oh, here we go. Look at this.
No, nothing happens here.
I know, but, it's a good chance. He actually should have put that away.
He should have buried it. Leroy was the next sub.
Yep, Leroy's about to come off. We've just cracked 100 live viewers. Hello to everyone joining us. We're about to really get into this.
Jeez, that so should have been a finish.
Yep. Should have absolutely put this away. Would have been game over.
That was such a pussy finish.
So much for it being a pussy league, Leroy. You should have been able to put that away. You only had.
There's so many shots in this footage where just Graham Arnold's just got his hands on his hips.
Famous game where there's that GIF. If you're on Twitter, right, and you go to add a GIF and you type in Graham Arnold, there's this one where he's just, and look at me right now, it's just like going, he goes, fuck! And he's visibly and audibly saying, fuck. And essentially, I think that was this game where that GIF was taken from. Here comes our boy.
Yeah, Chrissy Theoharis. Just when he comes on, just watch Christian Theoharis and the space he's able to make for himself. It's an ability that's really, really decent to watch in full flight. It's quite a sight. So just keep an eye on Chrissy Theoharis. I was putting this together and watching some of the match, and yeah, the ability to make space for such a young player. He just has that instinct and also the confidence. You don't see that confidence in young players too much.
I think in that passage of play just before, Kenny Athiu dispossessed himself.
He did. Not completely unusual for Kenny Athiu to dispossess himself.
I'm sorry, we're just padding for time here.
We're just padding. Sorry, Kenny.
We're just padding for time.
While we're padding, Christian Theoharis, for those that don't know, after he spent his time at Melbourne Victory, it's important to note that he's still only 20 years old. And he's currently at Borussia Mönchengladbach in Germany, a very big club in Germany. But he hasn't, to my knowledge, made a senior appearance yet. But he's been playing for their Zwei number 2 side there for nearly 2 years now. And he's played 14 or so matches, scored 3 goals. So one of those players where, as you boys know, I'm a bit of a football manager buff, and I've been currently managing Australia and the Australia under-23s, and Theoharis is one of those.
You know,
Seems so serious, Dave. It's not real life.
No, Dave used to make squads with. I used to be one of his greatest players. I was one of his great
back in the day when I used to
under 20s.
with the
I was a big Dave Sirhoy loyalist.
Do you boys follow Chrissy Theoharis on Instagram?
No, I don't.
He's doing some of his best. He's doing some of his best work in his Instagram stories. So he's obviously in lockdown like the rest of us, but he's in Germany. He's playing a lot of NBA 2K on PlayStation or Xbox. He's doing a lot of those filters. One of his favourite ones is what's your spirit animal? He always gets a shit animal. He gets really upset and angry on there. But he also does this really, really smart thing, which is smart for a professional footballer because, of course, you are a professional footballer, and one of the advantages of that is the ability to tune women. But instead of some players who are a little bit more, as they hit the bar,
off the bar,
and that is a huge moment, and could have come all crashing down. Oh, Thomas
again.
Unbelievable.
Look at him. He's a man possessed.
Yep. But just quickly, as Christian Theoharis, some players are a little bit forthright in their DMs. Christian Theoharis will just send a story saying DM ? And he lets you vote yes or no. So any girls that vote yes, he slides into the DMs. He's just he's cracked the code. He's cracked the code.
The Greeks did invent democracy, mate. So.
So what, he asked the punters whether he should pursue or not?
DM them, and they can vote in. So he probably just has this shopping list of chicks.
Move over, Plato. Theoharis is leading the charge there. Speaking of sliding into DMs, how's that rumour about our mate Cam Sober?
Yeah, there's a bit of a rumour, but we probably should leave that alone, Dave. We should probably leave that alone on a live broadcast.
No one's watching anyway. Well, actually, 105 people are. But anyway, no, we shouldn't leave it alone. We should just, well, maybe we should.
Oh!
Fuck
it. You just knew it was coming. You knew it was coming.
Yeah, and you see he's
Look
walking
at that power walk. Look at that power walk.
Who was that Olympic power walker for Australia?
Jane Saville? Jane Saville, the one that was disqualified for running?
That was it. Or was it... Kerry
Bessart. What's Bessart doing?
Where was that enthusiasm during the time when you're on the pitch, mate?
And here's the Sydney FC owner. You know it's coming. You know it's coming. I'm still nervous. I'm still nervous. I know that it's coming, but I'm still nervous watching it because they could have killed it. They could have killed it.
Jason, I started following Chrissy.
Oh, we've just got a call come through, but there's no way I can take a call right now.
All right, so the person calling it.
There's just call back in extra time. I'll call you back once we hit extra time. We can't take a viewer call right now. I'll just dismiss you for a second. Sorry. I know I've been talking for 90 minutes saying call in, but you've called in at the wrong time.
We just saw a vision of Josh Hope slicking back his hair. Oh, here we go, unfortunately.
And here we go. So
we were defending for our lives here.
Yep. Mate.
Just, putting every muscle.
I had no fingernails left. This was
it.
Heartbreaking.
Should have been a goal here.
Put it away there. Lawrence Thomas. And there it is.
I still want to smash my screen.
Yeah. Oh, look at his face. Look at his face.
Fuck off, Carney, you piece of shit.
So Buds, you and I were together with about 15, 20 other blokes in my house, and it was people head in their hands on the ground.
Oh.
This was probably up there with probably matching the reaction to like
this guy wrecks
Australia,
my A-League.
Australia, Italy, kind of that kind of feeling, that sinking feeling.
That level.
This was the worst because you knew in your heart of hearts that
There was no chance.
Sydney will do this
We
now.
were fucking done. We were done.
Everything comes up Sydney.
Yeah, so Alex in the comments say just makes this next bit even sweeter. So yeah, just take this in, take this pain in, and just remember what happens.
Exactly. I'll tell you what, I'm so glad that our listeners because we get to see these moments. Look,
the board.
Look at Dipietro, like, and the rest of the board, like, and their reaction, like, that was us.
Mirabella and the Fruiterer. They want blood.
Can turn on a couple of light bulbs, mate. Ultimately, what the hell was that? But, yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm going to take a toilet break because obviously...
Yeah, we're about to head to extra time, so that you go for it, Dave. You go for it. Kenny Athu's upset. I'm not too sure what about, but Matt Simon's getting his face as he does, and
Matt Simon would have said something racist, no doubt.
Yeah, we've headed straight into extra time because I didn't want to waste time in the breaks. But I'll just I'll try and call up whoever was on the phone then. Apologies.
Hey, Jace, how you going?
Hey, good. Who's this?
This is Matt McCall. Commented a few times. Matt. Been watching the two.
Yeah. Thanks for calling up. Sorry, I had to reject your call. It was a very pivotal moment.
Test call. Sorry, yeah.
It was a test call.
I didn't know it was going to work, so I quickly called it and then ended it. So,
oh right, yeah. No,
I knew I didn't want to call that time.
It does work. If anyone else wants to give it a try over the next half hour, you can. But Matt, what were your memories of this match? And of course, we just saw the Terry Antonis own goal. One of the best players on the pitch all night, but he ends up scoring to level it up in the last second. What were your memories of that night?
Yeah, pretty good. I was lucky enough to be up there with a good group of boys. I remember it a lot more than probably a few of my mates. One of the guys, he didn't even see Antonis' winner because he was getting talked to by cops after being about 35 beers deep. So he was he wasn't watching, but overall it was just an amazing day. The lead up, the pre-game at the bat and ball.
The Cook?
I can't even remember. Maybe I had too many. Captain Cook, yeah, of course. So yeah, probably maybe I had more than I thought. But it was just nuts. Like I remember we started the game, just like the pre-game, just thinking, oh, not much hope. And then when Reece Williams got injured, it was like, oh well, yeah, it's probably not going to be the night, and we'll just see how we go. And then the own goal from Stefan was just unfortunate, and that was just like, oh well, yeah, it's probably the nail's already in the coffin.
Yep.
20 minutes in the game, but we just just stood our ground, I guess, and kept it in there and got the goal, and then went up 2-1, and from there, the confidence was like, we can actually do this. It just felt weird. We were going to actually get the job done, but and then that unfortunate fucking Terry Antonis, just, I don't know. The most annoying thing was like knowing there was about 4 defenders and
Bessart's not happy here. We just got Bessart on the screen here. He's fuming. He's absolutely fuming that he's off the pitch for this. Because as you said, you've got Reece Williams off the pitch pre-game, and now we've got Bessart, James Teresi and Leroy George. So 4 huge players all not on the pitch at the moment. It just makes that effort in this extra time period all that more special.
Well, exactly. That's right. We didn't. It was just, the players on the field were just fucking grinding it.
Yep.
It was just incredible. Like, I remember just before like the Antonis goal, obviously we were all just waiting on the right at the fence, just ready to just start celebrating, and then bang, just out of nowhere flicks it and it's in, and it was just like, all right, what the fuck's just happened?
Yeah.
And it was just nuts because, I was up with about 8 or 9 of my mates, and we obviously started the night all together in a row, as you would. And then I think by extra time, the 2 of us were up near the back, 2 near the front, a few on the right. Like,
Ooh.
I was with none of my mates. I didn't know where they were.
Laurie again.
No one could watch it. We're just full of fucking nerves. Even now watching it, I'm just like...
Yeah, Laurie's just pulled out a huge save. Really, it was Bobo, wasn't it, Dave? He should have actually put that away. Just Lawrence Torres.
He should have. Absolutely.
Yeah, that there, I thought that was it. From my angle, it looked like there's no way he wasn't going to score. But, of course, Lawrence got a fucking good hand on it.
This call is getting absolutely destroyed in the comments section.
When it went to extra, I just couldn't see us getting it. It was just the whole pressure of them just compounding, just keep the ball in the box. I was like, how are we going to get out of this? It was just nuts. After being up in Sydney the year before, I just thought, fuck, I can't cop 2 heartbreaks like this in a row up in Sydney.
Yep.
But it was just fucking nuts.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably one of the greatest moments of my life. But I mean, that's what football is, I guess, and that's the thing we're all missing. With nothing on, even though the season's been horrible, but you still, it's games like this, you miss how much do I miss football? It's just, yeah.
Yep.
And then we went up to Newcastle the next week, and that was just a laugh. Like, the game was horrendous, but the whole day, and I think you were actually you and Budson were right next to us, I think.
Oh, right.
I remember saying, oh, that's the fuck's sake, boys. So
you'd remember if you spent a night with us,
3 weeks because of the Adelaide game as well. People, I think, forget a little bit about it. Just the fact that what happened with City and Newcastle was that what Borussia did to the bicycle kick to win that. It was just a crazy 3 weeks.
Yeah, it was. Matty, thank you so much for calling in. We really do appreciate it. Where do you live?
Hey, Matty.
I'm in Cockatoo at the moment. It's up in the Dandenong Mountains, so it's a fair.
I don't think Dave can get to you.
Mate, I'm not going to drive there.
We'll figure it out though. We'll figure it out. We'll send you out. We'll send you out a freebie when the post is going back
Absolutely.
up. When the boys are actually
send
out of the house.
Send us a DM with your deets.
No, that's all good. No, I'm loving it.
Thanks, Matty.
Beauty.
See you, mate.
Have a good one.
On your mate. As a ripping call.
Hey boys, I went to the toilet during the little break there, and the missus goes, "Oh, are you done?" And I was like, "Oh no, the game's just gone extra time." Yeah. It's like, what do you mean? There is no game?
I know it was a risky one doing this one. I think we just had to do it. We had to get this one out of the way. I know it was going to be a long game, but we had to get this out of the way for the punters. I think next week, if we do it again next week, I think the 2007 grand final will be good to look back, 15 years ago or 13 years ago now, almost. But yeah, Matt is copying in the comments that a few of his mates are watching.
Andrew Harris is giving him all sorts of grief.
Absolutely, just teed off on him from moment one. What is trench foot?
I don't know what trench foot is. But there's a lot of comments saying trench foot.
He lives in Moorabbin with his daddy, says Nick Leon.
Oh no! Now there's a chant for him. Now there's a song. We'll sing a song for Matty
because he's so dumped him. He's had a trench foot for the season. Now he's on Bumble. What's Bumble?
He has 0 matches. So that's okay because we love him. So Matty obviously is fucking copping a pasting right now.
Bumble, Dave.
Yeah,
are they the sponsor of the LA Clippers?
They are. So Bumble is a dating app where it's for coward men, really, because the girls have to talk to you first.
Oh, so that's why I don't know about it.
Look at Thea Harris making the space for himself here. He's conjured a chance out of nothing. Unreal. But yeah, Bumble is it's like Tinder, I believe, but you don't talk to the woman talks to you first, so you don't make the first move. Good for cowards who a little bit down on confidence because
betas.
You wait for the girl to talk to you rather than make a fool.
Thea Harris 18, so it's something worth remembering. At this time, he was 18.
Look at this,
18 years old.
Not too many young players have this confidence to do this. Yeah.
Well, he still didn't barely get a game either.
No, he didn't.
He barely got a game this season. Mm-hmm. This season that we're watching. And
look at Terry. Look at the anguish in his face right now, wanting to make amends. Look.
Yeah. And he has a desperation shot, I think, coming up as well from long range. I think if I haven't already missed it. There were a few calls,
and little Sydney dogs booing in the background. Eat shit for what's about to happen.
There were a few calls coming through just while Maddie was talking to us. So if you want to give a call back, feel free to do so. We'll answer and have a chat to you.
You've got about 7 minutes.
Everyone wants their moment with the Antonis.
Yeah, everyone wants to call Antonis scoring. Yeah.
We're up to 103. We've had a steady stream of above 80 for this stream, mate. I'll tell you what, some professional outfits would love these numbers.
Yeah, they would love double digits, let alone triple.
Care to name names?
No.
It's more fun this way, Jave. Way more fun.
Jave.
Jave.
Cross between Dave and Jace would be like an annoying young guy who likes to dance.
Jave would be on Bumble.
Yes, he would.
What a bitch-ass pussy Michael Zullo is.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, we should retell the story of the bitch-ass pussy while we're waiting here. Does everyone know what I'm talking about?
No.
You know the A-League, or Fox Sports specifically, would do this segment where
mean
they have
tweet.
players on, and they would talk about tweets made about them. And Buds, our boy, the man of the people, tweeted at Michael Zullo once, tagged him in it and said, "Michael Zullo, you bitch-ass pussy." And when Zullo was on the show on Fox Sports, they showed him that.
It was the main
fantastic.
tweets.
I can hear
Hey boys, I'm gonna go because I'm gonna just for 2 minutes.
Wow.
I'm gonna feed my little baby a bottle of milk. So give me 2 seconds.
Feed him a bottle of mountain goat.
Yeah.
Geez, someone's phone's going off tap too. Probably people
it's
calling in. So we've had a child emergency here that means you can't call in. Now you're left to us two amateurs to deal with the fallout. All right, let's talk about it, Budzer.
All right. How many minutes have we got to go?
There's another 3 or 4 minutes of this first half of extra time.
Oh, Jace could have muted his microphone.
I was saying the same thing about you when you walked off.
Why?
Because you didn't mute yours.
Well, what could you hear?
Oh, a lot.
Fuck off. No, I did mute mine. I 100%. I always mute it. I always mute it. Definitely.
Look at Graham Arnold. All right, this is how much of a petty person I am. When I took over my recent Football Manager game, the save of it, took over as Australia manager from the get-go, I called the save "Fuck Arnie."
Yeah, fuck Arnie.
Just because. I just feel like we've really missed out on a really long-term, glorious era with Ange at the helm of the Socceroos. You know, I feel like he should have been the manager for a long period of time. And instead we had his mates in Sydney fucking supplant him.
I think he's pretty happy where he's at.
Of course he is.
If you're calling in to speak to Jason, just have a look at the screen. Jason is not here.
Incomunicado. Yeah, sorry. I'll tell you what, we'll have some time. Jace is back now, and he might take a call. We got a little bit of time before.
Sorry, there has been the phone ringing a little bit.
Before the goal.
Sorry to everyone who is trying to call.
Oh, Kenny.
I'm just calling someone back who tried to call.
Hey boys, how are you?
G'day, how's it going?
Yeah, good. Just calling. Apparently my mate said I'm chirping too much in the comments to not give you guys a buzz.
That's good. That's good. What's your name?
Andrew Harris.
Andrew.
Oh, Andrew Harris, is it? You knew it was Andrew Harris.
Silly stuff.
You're the mate. Are you Matt's mate?
I am. Well, mate's a stretch. But,
all right. Well, a stretch is it?
Of this.
Could you tell us what trench foot is?
So he once missed a game of Melbourne victory because he had, quote, trench foot because he got stuck in a bunker when it was raining on a golf course. So,
all right.
Shows
So
you what kind of fan he is.
he lost his foot in a trench and forever known as
Yes.
trench foot. All right.
Yeah,
James
so he
Donachie's
missed the
just
game.
picked up a yellow here. I'm surprised. I'm staggered that James Donachie picked up a yellow in the 104th minute. I'm staggered it took that long.
It's a good player, though,
Yeah.
Jimmy Donks.
We love Jimmy Donks on this podcast. Donachie lad, as he's known. Were you at the game with Matt this night?
Unfortunately, this is one of my. I was calling up. This is one of my big regrets. I decided that instead of going to this game, I was going to go to the 21st of a girl I thought I'd have a pop at. And anyway, fast forward. Girl was a no-no.
Yep.
And so I missed out on one of the great moments. But
You did.
I was at Newey the next week, made up for it, got the toilet seat. So yeah, that's the last time a female's ever going in front of the mighty Vuck.
Dave, there used to be a time when you just go to the away games and pick up there rather than.
Well, yeah, I mean, Newey.
yeah.
I'm not really interested in sort of sibling stuff and Newey and all that. You know,
True.
interstate. Yeah.
Yeah, interstate. All right. Well, Andrew, thank you so much for calling. We'll get to a few other people that are trying to call through, but
Yeah,
thanks
no
for
worries.
Where do you
for
live,
coming on.
Andrew? To keep.
Oh yeah,
keep
where
up
do you live,
promised?
Andrew?
Melbourne, East Q. So
East Q. Dave, is East Q near you?
Yeah, well, not super near, but near enough for me to drop off a stubby holder
Alright,
in
cool.
your
I'm not in
letterbox, mate.
Cockatoo. I'm not in Cockatoo.
No, in Cookie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, you can't
Send
hear
us-
you can't hear the boys, but the boys are talking right now, saying that.
I can't hear the boys.
Yeah, no, but
Yeah.
we're not that good with the setup. But yeah,
Just
Dave
tell him
might
to
be able to
send
drop
us
it.
his.
Yeah, send us your
we'll drop him
details
off,
on
stubby holder.
on Facebook.
Will do.
All right, thanks, mate.
All right, thanks for this, lads. Bye.
No worries, bye. All right, there we go. Mate of Andrew.
All right, we're gonna have to stop the calls from now on, I reckon, because
Still got another
Glory
half
time.
of this. It's got another 15 minutes, Dave.
yeah, but there's an important moment coming in the next 3 to 4 minutes.
What is that?
After the, what do you mean?
No, it's like 10 minutes away. It happens like the 117th or 118th
Yeah.
or something. Yeah, so we're still a fair way away.
But mate,
'cause
time flies when you're having fun, mate.
it does. We're almost at the end of this stream. We've clocked about 107 minutes. I think we've been going for just about 2 hours.
And look, everyone's jumping on now. It's 122 of the Bucks on board,
Yep.
listening right now and
I
watching.
might throw
right
out a
now,
quick
'cause
tweet
this
as
is where
well.
it is.
I might throw
Yeah.
out a quick tweet
Do it.
saying it's time for Terry.
The Redeemer. We should actually try and keep the footage going for the moment where Jean-Paul de Marinay comes on the pitch, you know, where he thought it was golden goal,
Yeah.
and he manhandles David Carney.
Yeah, that's a huge moment as well.
We should totally keep it. Actually, was that in the game itself? Yeah, 'cause it was, wasn't it? Because he thought it was a
I
golden
think
goal.
so.
So
Yeah,
it was
no, he said
actually
he
during
thought
the
it was a
game,
golden
so
goal,
We will
yeah.
actually get to see it. Yeah. Oh God. What were you all thinking at this time when you guys were watching it in Brunswick? I
probably thought the fact that we weathered the storm for the first 15 minutes, I thought that maybe, we're a chance again. The nerves have started to calm a little bit because, we're holding our own a little bit. Nothing much was happening. I think that probably, back to optimistic hope a little bit.
Yeah. I'm not sure I was at this
I think
point.
Buds
because
might
it was
be
that-
on mute. If Buds is talking, I think he might be on mute.
Yeah, he is.
He's still on
No,
mute.
he's not. Oh, shit.
Oh, he's
The old
out.
technology has let us down again. All right. Anyway, carry on.
Nothing's changed, Buds, so that sucks. We might just get you calling in on WhatsApp for the rest of it.
Yeah, Tony Icing's just made a comment on the chat as like, how daft must you be to think it is a golden goal? Well,
yeah, exactly right.
Honestly, it wasn't. I think that was his cheap excuse for trying to mount a defence for what he actually did, which he knew was quite criminal in football terms to do what he did, Jean-Paul. So he was looking at any potential way of lessening his sentence at that time. And Tony Isings also said, "Bud's on mute never sounded better."
I'm just messaging.
That's got nothing to do with our indoor football history that the three of us have at all.
I'm messaging.
Hello.
But there he is.
Oh, he's back.
I knew nothing had changed.
Well, let's not talk about Tony Icing's history.
Burn.
Tony Ising, a fantastic friend of for Vuck's sake, that's for sure. Done a couple of very good pods with us.
Yeah, he sure has. Good on you, Tony. I was very, very. Yeah, he's a real great guy. We love him. Great guy. I was a bit worried that I wasn't going to have my Celine Dion moment here.
Oh
so.
Yeah. What were you doing wrong there, Buds, with the microphone? As I said, nothing was changed on the thing.
Nothing changed, mate. I just unplugged it and put it in about 3 or 4 times. I don't know.
The magic fix. So we transitioned into the second half of extra time as well. I cut out the little break there, so we're in the second half now. We're probably about
here we go
8 minutes away from it all kicking off. Got all the punters watching now. It's the do or die time for Melbourne Victory here at the dying stages of extra time.
It's still astonishing that we're even at this point because, if you missed our early introduction, like Bobo, he had that chance
Jason, just have a look
to
at
actually
the
end it for us in regular time. But it was again LT to the rescue.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was just an incredible defensive effort and just out of this world goalkeeping performance from Lawrence Thomas as well.
Oh, and this should have been a penalty. Actually, I was looking back through this earlier today. This should have been a penalty.
Yeah,
and this is very similar. This is very similar to a few weeks ago, the game that Marco Kurtz has got sent off in his final game in charge. This is very similar to Matty Simon getting dragged down the box. And what do you think, Dave? Is that a penalty?
6 of one, half a dozen of the other, to be honest. Initially, it was Simon who instigated the contact. Deng was simply doing the same sort of thing. Yeah, so Bobo, the fact that we kept him goalless in this game is absolutely insane. I love it when they pan to Graham Arnold and his anguished face.
Yeah, it's good. It gets better and better. And he's in the interview after the match. I think it's in this edit. He's just gritting his teeth. He knows that they're the best team all year, and he's just gritting his teeth. Buds has just walked off.
Once again, Jace, we did this last week. Is there a possibility that you can somehow lift the volume of the telecast during the actual moment of commentary?
Yeah, I can.
And Buds and I will go on mute and you go on mute, and we can somehow just relive that moment in all its glory.
Yeah, I can. I can do that.
All right.
So I'll, when Buds puts on his...
You were supposed to go on mute again, mate.
Fuck off.
So when this Terry Antonio's goal is going to come, we're gonna mute our microphones and we're going to turn up the audio on the commentary.
Oh, except Buds was going to do the Titanic.
Right. Okay. Well,
so
Buds,
maybe he stays off.
Yeah, you keep your
I can play.
Not yet, Buds. You don't have to turn it off yet. That's it. He's having microphone dramas.
Karune, our friend, our friend, Melbourne Victory supporters in Tokyo has just commented, I remember not wanting this to go to penalties because my mate wanted to head to the izakaya and the extra time had delayed us going.
Is
so
that the
him
brothel in
constantly
Japan?
telling me to hurry up, it just made us more stressed out. Both of us went fucking nuts when Antonis had his God moment, though. Now, Izakaya, it's the restaurant on Russell Street, if I'm correct. It's fantastic Japanese cuisine there on Russell Street.
Fantastic. Yeah, and that's, I think,
although Izakaya, actually, that's what it's called on Russell. Oh, there's that oligarch again.
Yeah.
Am I back on?
Yeah, you're way up, though, on your levels, though. Your sound levels are way up.
Oh, I haven't done anything to the levels.
That's all right. I think you were just close. There's Dino, a good friend of the podcast, with his head in his hands.
This software, mate, we need to get a fucking
refund.
No, I think it's the operator who's doing it. I don't think I'm very good at this. This is sophisticated broadcast software. I'm not actually that good at using it. But once again, thank you to our Patreon supporters. Amazing work and support throughout the season. Thank you guys for supporting us and giving us the opportunity to buy software like this. It's for anyone wondering, I think I got a few questions during the software, also during the telecast. It's not OBS, which I think is what all the Twitch gamers use. We're using Wirecast, which lets us patch in multiple people from remote locations. So yeah.
So someone's asked, why am I wearing a hat? It's because I shaved my head.
Oh, did you? There you go. I'm gonna have to shave my head next week as well. So all the hairdressers are shut, all the barbers are shut. So I'm gonna have to do a do it yourself head shave.
Yeah. Isolation. Head shave. Didn't want to go to a barber.
Yeah.
And I've got a pair of clippers. So I thought, why the fuck not?
Yep. Yeah, I'm heading to that part. And it just when you shave your head, it just does make you realise how bald you are. I'm not looking forward to that.
Yeah,
to that moment.
That's why I'm wearing a hat.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that.
Fuck off, Tony.
So Kenny Atthews just fouled in his attacking half. JP is furious in the background. We're a couple minutes away from Terry Antonis.
I'm going full screen for this bitch.
Yeah.
Still, my favourite bit is Dean Anastasiades.
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
When the referee looks at him and goes, "What the fuck did I do?"
Shit, yeah, that's going to be on this, isn't it? Yep.
Yeah. Well, we have to turn the volume up for that, Jace.
Yeah, we're going to turn the volume up just in the lead up to the goal. So you'll stop hearing us and you'll hear the commentary of Simon Hill, the iconic commentary of Simon Hill.
How iconic is it?
The numbers are rising up to 143 live. Thank you to everyone that's stuck with us.
Get in there, folks.
And Bud,
stop fucking around there, mate. What?
I think it's just a bad night for technology. I want to mute my mic in certain parts, but I'm too scared.
Yeah, don't
There's
worry
a button
about it.
top right where you can mute it.
Yeah, I know that, Dave, but when I do that, the technology lets me down.
Oh, that's a great tackle. Look at that tackle.
Here comes Brox. Here comes Brox.
Tommy Dang.
See, Thea Harris is loose here.
Yep. And he probably should have laid it off to Costa. I think Costa probably should have got that ball.
Nothing from the ref there. I don't know about that. And we still haven't seen that disgusting challenge from Wilkshire on Thea Harris too.
Yep, it comes.
Should have been a red.
Santino just keeps fobbing off to me in different languages. Maybe call in, coward.
No, he's not doing it. He said he's not calling in. But it's all right.
He's too shy.
It's all right. We're gonna close down the phone lines now because we're very close to the Antonis goal. So no more calls. Thank you to everyone that did call in, but no more calls. So yeah, something that's hugely underrated in the Antonis goal, Rudy Edsel says, is how bad Nikovic's challenge on Antonis.
I love how much this would have hurt David Carney, this whole experience.
Yeah. Here it is.
Okay, I'm going to turn it on now.
Antonis had no right to get through there, really, but still he goes on. O'Neill giving chase forlornly. Still Terry Antonis! Has he won it for the victory?
Antonis!
Hero in navy blue!
Look at Buska's face. Here we go.
Kicking off. So unbelievable scenes. Terry the Redeemer. Wow. Just remember how good that was. And I think it was Kenny Athieu in the background there. All right, Budget, that's way too loud. That's way too loud. Oh, thank you. Fuck. What a goal by Terry Antonis. And the tears are in his eyes. He's crying. The biggest moment in his professional career, no doubt. Terry Antonis ripples the back of the net. And here we go. Here's the afters.
Here we go.
Here's the afters. Golden goal. He spit slapped David Carney. Oh, my goodness. It's a golden goal, so that gives you the right to bitch slap everyone. I thought it was a golden goal.
Thank God he's gone.
Me, I didn't do anything. It wasn't me.
What did I do?
Jeez.
VAR check. Get fucked. This was before VAR.
No, this was just the VAR check to make sure that he actually slapped someone.
Oh, yeah, this was VAR was a thing. Yeah,
this was an assault check.
Yeah. And they're both gone
Red
off.
card. Doing something.
JP, just fuck off. You got a big mouth.
Trimmers, maybe focus on recruitment instead of ushering people off the pitch.
Jack Delaney's saying that Kenny Athieu had a blinder this match, won everything in the air, won the Vuck. Sorry, if we went a little bit early on the Kenny Athieu hate on this game. Maybe it's a bit of recency bias.
Oh yeah.
And here's Sydney. Look, they're all ready to attack.
Up
Look
on
at
the
this
halfway
huge.
line.
Yeah.
Hey, Jace, this is the clear. This is the clearest that the match has been on the screen in about 300 minutes of football.
Because I think there's been some issues on the stream. I think it's just stopping and starting. I think that perhaps. I think there might be someone else using the internet in this house, which is causing some issues.
Get a Google Wi-Fi. Google Wi-Fi.
It's a real parent thing.
Yeah, I'm going to have to.
And you can lock out, turn the internet off for the kids. Here we go. Yeah. Red card.
Red card. What the fuck?
Entered the pitch, when he shouldn't have.
And
Trimmers again is like, off you go, mate, off you go. Greg O'Rourke standing there, like Greg O'Rourke trying to run the A-League from the sidelines there. Okay, I'll take every red card they got given to us here. It doesn't matter.
Trimmers would be wrapped about COVID-19. It's just completely taken the focus. It's been taking the focus out of how bad a 2020 he's had.
Oh dear, oh dear.
5 minutes. 5 minutes to last here.
In looking back at this game, like in your head, it's just all about the Terry Antonis thing and everything like that. But there was just so much in this game, so much drama, so much. Here we go again.
Yeah. Well, he's done a fair bit. He's done a fair bit there, hasn't he?
What the fuck did I do?
I was the peacemaker.
You just took on 3 players. Oh, fuck. What a game. Yeah,
this is high drama. Can you think of anything else that matches this game in drama? I actually think the Central Coast game a few weeks ago matches it a little bit. Of course, the stakes weren't that high, but fuck.
Mate, I think WrestleMania 15 is probably the only thing that comes close to this.
That's it. Take your time, Sanchez. in typical South American fashion, just milk the clock.
Oh, the Sydney fans getting upset.
Mirziewski take the free kick. Come on, Thea Harris.
Oh,
that was the one. No,
is this the
one?
No, I think it's just further up on the pitch, isn't it? Yeah.
No, that was Zulo. He copped one from Zulo and then Wilkshire. Or was it? Or was this the one? Surely he wasn't taking.
No,
down.
it was closer to our attacking goal.
Oh, we dropped down to 103. So people
saw it and they just dropped off. That's all right. That's all right.
You missed all the drama.
Missed all the drama. Yeah, there's still a bit more drama to come because Thea Harris gets leveled and he can't play the next game. I don't think he plays the next match in the championship.
No, he was celebrating. He was celebrating on crutches.
Yeah, and it's funny as well. So in the next match, I was looking at the championship game. We were talking throughout this game about how early Kev went with his subs and how he subbed his best players off very, very early in this one, which is very much unlike Kev. The next week, he only made one sub the entire game, which was Stefan Nigro coming off in the 77th minute. So the next game, he was very, very conservative, only made one sub. So he kind of learned his lesson a little bit the following week when we go on and win the championship. So yeah, Hutch saying that the 3-3 draw against CCM, Central Coast Mariners was pretty epic as well. 100%, that was one of the most drama-packed games.
If we can get footage of that game, I remember that game vividly, being in the stadium for that one, like just how insane that was.
Yeah.
You know, with a man down, and no, we went 2 men down.
Yeah, 2 men down in the first half.
Late on. And managed to. It was Danny Allsop from Fred, an amazing equaliser. That'd be a great one to relive.
Yeah.
Hey, boys, who am I?
Yeah, I can't hear one. Thankfully, on the telecast. Thank God, I can't hear one of your farts rip. Karoon saying as well. 2-2 against Andrews Raw against 9 men again was pretty good. I remember that one.
Yeah.
I think there might have been another one, maybe a 3-3 against Brisbane Roar or something like that, when they scored late after Michael Theo seemed to make a catch.
We're not fucking watching that one. No.
Yeah, no. Of course, we have to win the game.
No, that was when Matt Mackay scored, and he was a little prick, and then Ange. This is why I don't like Ange. Ange actually walked over as the manager then to the Brisbane fans that were in the corner and gave us the fist, and I've never liked him since. I don't care.
Look at that. The rain's pouring. The fans are shirts off.
Celebrating.
I think that's the guy. I think that guy with the shirt off then was actually got the guy that ripped the flare that night in Newcastle.
In Newey.
Yeah. Someone also viciously broke their leg in front of us in Newey. Do you remember the week after?
Oh, yeah.
St. John's ambulance came in and we were just
the green whipper was out in force, man.
Yeah. And Graham Arnold looks dejected. He's spitting. Kevin Muscat's on the chewy on his 5th pack of chewing gum. It is almost time for the victory to win this game and wrap it up and advance to the grand final the next week. The board still tearing their hair out. I think I see Lee Broxton's wife in the bottom right there as well.
Wow.
And this is the one. This is the final fucking minute. That's fucked. Thea Harris goes down. His grand final dream's over.
Yeah, this was the one.
And that's in the last minute.
This was criminal.
That's the last second.
Absolutely criminal. Like, that's so frustrating.
He's a white trash bitch. I hate Luke Wilkshire.
With his crappy fucking sleeve tattoos.
That's awful. That's
this
fucked
was
up.
Just horrendous. Horrendous.
So the guy who actually I just accused of ripping that flare has arced up on the comments saying, "How dare you accuse me of ripping the flare?" Sorry if it wasn't you. I'm sorry.
I think it was you, mate.
I think it might have been.
It's okay that you woke me up from my slumber in the hotel room. That's fine.
I still think I've got the link that someone sent me of the dude who ripped the flare actually did an Insta post about ripping the flare.
Yeah, he did.
Yep.
Yeah, I've still got that somewhere. I can
Social media's a bitch.
I can pin you down.
He looks a bit big, mate. I reckon he'll pin you down.
Fuck. Who?
I think Buds has been his fair share of backyard
Look at that. Someone's
rumbles.
got a towel over their head. Yeah. Look at that. It's actually a jacket that looks like a towel, but anyway. Look at this disgusting challenge. It infuriates me.
And did you get a yellow for this? Someone's asking in the comments, did you get a yellow? He should have. He should have been sent off. Just blow the fucking whistle. Kevin Muscat always looking like he's on pingers during the match.
Not too shabby there.
Dave, you're in a live broadcast. Your wife can be watching this right now.
I doubt it.
How good is Simon Hill calling for celebration
Leroy
times
George.
for victory?
Yeah. Leroy George, he's getting excited. Here we go. Fucking blow the whistle.
Okay, now just a matter of minutes.
What the fuck? Just blow it.
They're just giving Sydney as much time as they need.
Thea Harris limping back on to do the best he can.
Yeah, he's just a statue there at the moment, though.
There it is.
There it is. Come on.
What a huge! Oh, and someone we're gonna fucking someone on the ground. I wonder if someone was trying to celebrate with Kevin Muscat or trying to tackle him to the ground. I wonder if that was a Sydney fan. Terry Antonis, look at the smile on his face. Terry Antonis becomes a fucking superstar in the mainstream media after this. In the days after this, he's on every single media outlet, on Channel 10, on all the news networks. He became an absolute superstar after this. This was Terry Antonis's breakout game. It goes without saying, of course, but I think this was the game. I think this was the game when he became a victory player. He played his time in Sydney and Western Sydney as well. But this game and this goal really just etched his name as a victory player for life. This was his breakout game, 100%.
He's out.
Yeah, this was just huge. I mean,
it's no secret.
We put his shirt on the back of the Christ the Redeemer. He became legend folklore, the greatest. And I think the best thing about him being the media's darling for a couple of days was he's not a very good media performer.
No, he was overwhelmed by the experience, Yeah, and Jack Delaney's just saying in the comments, cue the mad rush for flights. It reached fever pitch around about this time.
Nuts.
I don't remember this telecast after this point because we were just hurrying, and we did a live stream after this game as well, actually. We were always going to do it. Or actually, we were planning to do it pre-game. We'll listen to Terry Antonis. Give us a sec.
Turn it up, Jace.
From utter heartbreak to pure joy. You're in the grand final, mate.
Yeah, look, I can't describe it, emotionally it was crazy, to score a goal and to score the winner, it's an amazing feeling, and the boys stuck hard, we had the game plan and we've been waiting a long time for this.
You had to dig pretty deep out there. What went through your mind? I'm sure you had the demons that rushed in. You're thinking, oh my gosh, there was 20 seconds to go. And then you're running, the goal's open, and you finished it.
Yeah, look, like I said, can't describe it, when the fans, all the Sydney fans were giving me crap, they just gave me more energy, and to score that here, I can't explain.
What about this team performance? You guys dug so deep tonight. It was not easy by any stretch of a football game. Tired bodies, exhausted out there.
Look, we had a game plan. All the boys stuck together with one team. Everyone, the coaches, the staff, off the board, all the players on the pitch gave it all tonight to get into the finals. So there we go.
Bring on Newcastle, huh? Enjoy the win, Terry. Well done.
Love it.
Over to you, Garby.
Tara, thank you. Yeah, I'm with Alex Bross, the captain of Sydney FC. Alex,
I don't want to hear him. Don't want to hear him. All right, boys. So, as we know, the victory win 3-2, one of the most drama-filled games in victory history. Some heartbreak at the end. Of course, with Christian Theo. It was controversy shrouded as well with a broken VAR system, but the victory get the chocolates and go on to win the championship in Newcastle. So, boys, thank you. It's been a massive effort. We're about to tick over 2.5 hours, but thank you guys so much. And also thanks to everyone that went on the journey with us this afternoon. A huge day. Thank you to everyone that watched. And we'll be back hopefully next week. We might do the 2007 Grand Final. We'll see what happens. Thanks, guys, so much.
Thanks, mate. Awesome job again.
Thanks, Jason.
Catch us later.
Everyone that tuned in.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
On the Vuck.